No way.
Fucking audio and vision just fucking destroyed me, man. So Street
What?
Fighter is a little bit more knowledge. So especially to get in terms of the higher levels, like, so I would say every fighting game is very tempo based. Melee and Smash in particular is more tempo based since there's not like clear interactions of what's going on.
Yeah.
Because you have so many things that change the frame data between like jump frames and whatnot, and like landing frames and dash things. Whereas Street Fighter is much more grounded. It's like once somebody presses the button and you block it or you get hit, the frame data is the frame data, right? There's not a lot going around that. You have a little bit of that. People get in air-to-airs and where your jump heights are versus each other. You get a little bit more like the melee feel, but no.
Yeah.
Street Fighter is much more like if you block or if you take a hit, the frame data is the frame data, and you should know it. Now, you don't need to know it ever. I want to say you don't need to know it ever. And the example I have of that is the winner of Frosty Faustings in 2019. In 2019, it was right before COVID, right? They were in loser's side of top 8, right? Loser's side of top 8. It's 2-2, right?
Yeah.
This guy, Mojo, 2 games up against Brian F, 2 games. Brian F does an EX dash punch, which is +1 on block, right? Brian F is advantage. Mojo, playing Mika, has super meter. Brian F thinks I'm +1. Mojo might try and reversal super because he knows that I'm +1 and thinks that I'll press a button. Mojo command grabs him in the ultimate big brain play, going, Brian F is +1, he's advantage, he's gonna press a button, but no, I'm gonna command grab him because he's gonna wait for my super. Except that's not what happened at all. Mojo thought that EX dash rate was -1 on block, thinking that he was advantaged, he was just gonna command grab him because he thought Brian F was gonna block in a minus situation. To win the set in top 8 in a major tournament, Mojo won because he didn't know the frame data. So you don't actually need to know the frame data because it's frame data is a social construct. So it's not like super necessary, but you would definitely be a better player if you did know it. Hopefully that wasn't what a roller coaster of emotions. I know, right? Imagine me talking to Mojo like after the whole thing, like listening to the stories, like I thought it was -1. We're like trying to like get into it, like what made you realize that you should command grab? He's like, I thought EXF straight was -1. Like, wow. You thought the command grab because you're an idiot? And you won? And he went on to win. He won the tournament. He won the tournament on that. I do think frame data is important to know when you are and aren't respecting your opponent's thing, right? So like assuming Mojo knew the frame data, that read is epic. It's so good. Like, it's such a good read, right? Because it's taking advantage of the fact that someone is in a tournament setting and is afraid and is doing the safe option. And I respect a lot of that. And I think that a lot of people need to do that. You need to evaluate your opponent's ranges and what they want to do and what they would do in these situations. And I think frame data is an integral part because you can't read the book if you can't understand the language, right? So, and frame data is that language. So I think you need to know that when you are disrespecting. You need to know when you are disrespecting your opponent.
Oh wait, is this back up? Can you hear me right?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know why. Like, you couldn't hear me anymore. Like, I was listening to your story through the stream because like it just muted for some reason. I
Ah,
don't know
okay,
why.
okay. But I hear you again.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah. Like
Okay.
I don't believe like how I feel like you guys as the FGC community are just straight up into the matrix and see numbers
Oh,
everywhere.
so the reason for that is that our games are much more structured than Smash is. Smash is
Yeah,
much
yeah,
more
yeah, yeah, yeah.
freeform. So I totally understand. Like, it blows my mind that you guys don't know the frame data. But I totally get it because like your Smash is much more spacing dependent than it is
Mm. And it's
frame
just like
dependent.
the angles just mess everything up.
Yeah. And there's
You
so
add
many like
platforms and it's
there's so many moves that mess up the frame data in that
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
you don't see those situations in more normal fighting games. But don't ever consider Smash not fighting game. Smash is a fighting game through and through. I know it's a reasonably controversial opinion that I hold. Like, I was like, no, Smash is a fighting game. That's it.
I, I've got a like I think I've got a good question.
Okay.
What do you think would be the best way for like a brand new player of the
Okay.
FGC? Where should he start? And by that I mean what game? And like how
So
can he start playing right now?
the answer to that is to play the fighting game that they want to play, right? So it doesn't matter what. So the biggest thing to make you good and enjoy fighting games is to play the fighting game that you like to play. Because if you don't like playing it, then you're not gonna play enough to actually get good.
Yeah, of course.
Because as with any skill, fighting games is a skill that you need to develop, or you should not, like, if you want to develop, you have to play at least 3 times a week. Because that's with anything. So that was something like when I did like martial arts, it was they didn't let you sign up for less than 2 classes a week because they're like less than 2 classes a week, you're never gonna get any better. And they're like, to be honest, like, we don't want you signing up for 2 classes a week either, because you need to sign up for 3 classes a week in order to actually get better. But we recognize that sometimes life gets in the way and you can only do 2 classes a week, which is enough to like maintain your skill level.
Yeah.
So you have to play a lot. You have to enjoy playing. So like whatever fighting game you enjoy playing, that's the one for you. And on a subcategory of that, whatever character you like playing is the character for you. Like, screw everyone who says like, oh, play this character because they're beginner friendly. Doesn't matter. The beginner friendly character is the character you like playing. Whether it's because of the moveset, whether it's because the combos are super cool, whether it's because the character just looks super cool, it doesn't matter. Whatever gets you playing is the correct player, is the correct character. So people say like, so in terms of like easiest games to play, Street Fighter V is pretty easy to play. Strive is pretty easy to play. Modern fighting games in general are much easier to play than the older fighting games. So if you're
Yeah,
looking
I've
to get
heard.
better faster, like if you're looking for the lowest skill barrier, any modern fighting game. So whether it's Strive, Street Fighter, the newer Smashes, or like the newer King of Fighters, just any of the newer games. That'll
Have
be
you gone
good.
back to like older games like at some point?
Yeah, so I started my first real competitive fighting game was Street Fighter V. I've gone back to Guilty Gear Plus R. That's a super fun game. I've tried out Third Strike. That's pretty fun as well. I've gone back and played like Gar Mark of the Wolves when they got that rollback netcode update. That was pretty fun. Like, you can play them, and a lot of the skills transfer over. Where like, so like when I was playing Third Strike, I did reasonably well against people doing nothing other than Street Fighter V things, even though it's a completely different game and a completely different system. But like, I played footsies. I understood footsies,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
understood whiff punishing. I just played that. And like, even though I couldn't do Street Fighter 3 things like parry, I can confirm in the Super because, you know, it's
Yeah.
confirming in the Super is the same in either game. It's just
Yeah, you don't have to learn like again how to do like quarter circle for the first time. It's like
exactly. So it's like
you still have the muscle memory, and you're just like, oh, okay, I gotta rewire my
low
brain
forward
to
in the
learn
Super.
where to put
That
it. Yeah.
exists in every game, right? It exists in every game. So it's like, I just do that. And it's like, man, Kevin, your footsies are so good. I'm like, thanks, I guess. I mash buttons sometimes. A lot of the skills transfer, so like, a lot of the older games are pretty fun. Don't be afraid. The biggest thing, though, in terms of any fighting game is don't be afraid to lose. Losing is normal. It's fine. I lose a lot. Everyone loses a lot. I know it doesn't mean a lot when I say I lose a lot, but like, I feel like I'm pretty competitive at the games that I do play, and like, losing is fine. Everyone loses, and that's okay. Be okay with
like
how you are as a player. Everyone starts somewhere, and
there's
do that. Just do that.
there's this like strange mentality when like I don't know if it's in melee part in particular, which is like to get good you gotta get your ass whooped by like people, and I mean not just like lose, but
So
same thing as like getting perfected again and
I
again
have a
again.
lot of thoughts on that. If we're like, I guess we're getting into the philosophy of like fighting games now, which we have been in the last like half an hour. I have a lot of thoughts on it. So I don't think that's good for newer players to just get their ass whooped over and over again. It's very demoralizing, and I know that a lot of OG fighting game players really respect that and think that's the way to go because that's how they survived in the FG, in the fighting game community, is that they show up to these arcades and they're the ones that got their ass whooped for like 5 years straight, and until they finally like got good. And since that's how they got good, they expect everyone else to get good in the same way. And I disagree with that. I think people should play others that are closer to their skill level because it's not fun to get your ass whooped. And frankly, fighting games are supposed to be fun, right? And like, how can you expect people to like want to play something if it's not fun? Like who honestly gets as fun just getting their ass whooped over and over again?
Yeah, I can completely agree with you.
Like, some people, sure, but like they're the minority, and you shouldn't like just be like, nah, sorry, this game is only for people who like getting their ass whooped for 5 hours straight.
Yeah,
Not
like
no.
we recently got like you probably heard of like Melee is still alive right now just because of Slippy, because through the COVID era it's just
That's because Slippy introduced rollback netcode, and rollback netcode is the best. It is the best.
And for the longest time Sleepy didn't have any ranking system, and it still kind of does not. And at some point the creator just said, okay, I'm gonna do a MMR, I'm gonna do an ELO system, which is gonna be hidden, and you're not gonna see the number go up or down, but it's just gonna be soft, so like good players are gonna fight good players.
Which is the way to go.
It was a shitstorm on Twitter. People
fuck
were
them.
so mad because it's like, what do you mean I cannot go like 4-stock somebody in 3 seconds for my stream? And that was mind-boggling to me, the fact
because
that
people want to dunk on noobs.
They just want to do sick combos and they don't care.
So that's a beef that I have with OG fighting game players in general, is OG fighting game players, in my opinion, love knowledge checks. They love knowledge checks. They want to be like, oh man, you don't know about this? Well, you fucking lose. Right?
Yeah.
And it makes them feel good, and I understand why it makes people feel good, but I think they're bad for the game. Right?
Yeah,
I think
it values their time they invested, but at the same time, it's like a barrier of entry that is unfun for a lot of people.
Right. Exactly. And that's what it gets to. It's unfun. It's unfun to get knowledge checked.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it's going to exist to some extent, right? Where it's like, oh, you don't know how to anti-air? Well, that's kind of a knowledge check, right? How to anti-air, but it's not like a knowledge check. It's more of like a
Yeah.
skill
Just
check,
you don't know the the mechanics of the game.
right?
That's just
Versus something where it's like, oh man, you don't know that this mix-up teleports behind you and is actually you have to actually block the other way. Well, it sucks to be you, kind of thing, right? Like, or in my opinion, since like I really didn't like Street Fighter 4 for its knowledge checks, where it's like, oh, you don't know what the option selects are. Well, you think that you're just guessing wrong every time, but actually it's an option select that covers every single guess that you're doing. So you're just gonna lose every time.
wow.
Unfun. Unfun.
Fun. Yeah, I see it.
Unfun.
While we are on the subject of like fighting game in general and
Sure.
philosophy and everything, where do you think fighting games grow from here?
Where I
In the
think fighting
sense
games grow.
of, I
So
feel like there's a lot of samey, like a game comes out with a new iteration, it's better graphics, it's more different characters, but in the
so
general sense, it feels the same to a viewer. Do you think there's a,
no, I don't think it feels the same to a viewer. I think Strive and Street Fighter High did a really good job of making fighting games better for the viewer experience. Street Fighter 5, in terms of slowing, like they really slowed their gameplay down, but they made some like exciting things. I really like the crush counter
compared to
system.
the 4, you mean?
And compared to 4, right?
Okay.
They made obviously exciting things happen. They made it so that it's not they made it so what's happening is more obvious what's happening. Same with Strive, the counter, like the big counter, freeze frame,
Yeah.
exciting moments, like, oh man, that just happened. I think that's really good. I think they've done a great job of improving the viewer experience between older fighting games and newer fighting games. I think they did a great job, especially like Dragon Ball Fighters, especially with Strive, in terms of making gameplay mechanics more easily accessible between auto combos in Dragon Ball Fighters and the kind of simplified
That's
combo
huge.
system of Strive. Like, I think it's really good. I think making your game accessible to not bad players, like I say bad, but I don't mean that in like a negative way, right? I'm not like, oh man, they're bad players. And it's like casual players. Your game should be fun for casual players, and fighting games are really starting to recognize that they need to be fun towards casual players, because frankly 90% of your player base is going to be casual players, if not more. I think that they need to make much more engaging and fun single player content if they want to become mainstream. I think fighting games focus too much on the competitive aspect, and I think that's a mistake, because frankly, most people aren't competitive. And if they want to grow as a genre, they need to cater to the casuals.
So what do you think about the way Guilty Gear handled it with basically episodes?
I think Guilty Gear handled it horribly. It takes way too long to open up the game. They have like no single player content at all. They have like the single player story mode, which is the movie, which is fine, but there's like no single player content. There's no, like there's like a little bit of like arcade mode where you fight like the various characters, but like I really do think that they need to focus on a way
Actual
for people gameplay that's fun, engaging, something that's people can try and get better at and win at in terms of single player content that's like that gets them invested in that. And like that's where the real player base is at.
Yeah.
I feel like
arcade mode and stuff would be good.
Yeah, it would be good. It would be really good. An example of that is if you look at like any YouTube channel, right? And you look at like any YouTube channel that talks about gameplay, trying to teach you combos, trying to teach you neutral or any of that stuff, they get thousands of views. You look up some random ass guy saying like, I beat, so and so game on hard mode. It's got like 1 million views, straight up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. It's like, the one I'm thinking of is like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, like hard mode.
Yeah, like if you can get, I feel like people are invested into narrative, and I feel that that's why the FGC is like so great right now. It's the fact that they can make their own narrative. But for newer player who do not know the FGC, who do not watch Evo or watch tournaments or go to locals, I feel like the point you strike is like really important, and like getting the first foot through that door is so hard, so hard. And like, and it's sad to see sometimes that games that actually figured it out just reverted. Like, and I go back to my Smash Ultimate is the saddest single player experience you can ever
But
play.
like, so one thing that I think made Smash so good is 4-player mode, right? The fun
Yeah.
party. You got everyone going. You have items going on. The stages are wacky. Things are happening.
Yeah.
That's what, like, that to me is what makes Smash so much fun, right? The 1v1 competitive aspect, sure, that's fun. That's great. But just like,
So we just need items in Street Fighter.
yeah, there needs to be a party mode. There needs
Yeah.
to be a mode that's not 1v1 fighting, right? Because 1v1 fighting is hard and it sucks. Like you lose and you feel bad. You just lost. There needs
Honestly,
to
like
be
Street
more.
Fighter, yeah, Street Fighter with items, I surely whip that shit out every
Team
party.
mode doesn't count Axio because it's just a series of 1v1 fights and it's offline
Yeah.
only. It needs stuff like the Alpha series, what's it called? Like the tag team boss, like when you and your buddy fight the super buffed AI in the Alpha series, they need shit like that. Because that's fun. Like they need events where it's like, hey, alright, we're going to do this thing, right? So Street Fighter 5 was like, alright, this is the versus Bison event where you're going to join a lobby. It's going to be 5 battles. It's going to be 5 players all fighting this super powered AI Bison, right? And if the community as a whole gets 1,000 wins by the end of the week, or like 10,000 wins by the end of the week, everyone who participated gets like some shiny badge, like some title or whatever. That's gonna get fucking everyone in there because that's gonna be fun because you're gonna group up with your friends. Like either you get random strangers or you get your group of friends. You're gonna fight it, and you don't have to be good to do it because the AI is just gonna be doing whatever the hell it wants and gonna be hitting all of you, right? But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. They'll have like items drop down where like you're like, oh, it's the healing item. Like, go, Timmy, go grab that healing item. You're at the lowest health, right? It's like, do crap like that where like it has no competitive thing, but you know what? It's fun. It's fun to do.
Yeah, that actually sounds really cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
So
Where do you go
that's
from
my
there?
thought on that. But that's
Yeah.
enough of that. Thank you
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much for joining us tonight. It was great to have you as commentary. I'm gonna give you the commentator role because normally we ask for commentators. Or whatever. We ask for commentators every week. So if you ever want to come into that, just let me know. We can get you
Sure.
on. Next week.
That was a blast.
Oh yeah, it was very fun. Next week we're gonna do the beginner only tournament, so sign up for that. I'm gonna update it so it'll be the normal thing. If enough people join, we're gonna do it. We're gonna start doing it every week. It's only if enough people do it. Like that's kind of thing. It's like if I run 2 tournaments at the same time, a normal tournament and a beginner tournament, I'm going to need enough TO support. And the only way TO support is going to happen is if there's like 40 plus people playing in the tournaments, right? So get your friends to sign up if you want the beginner tournament to happen every week. Other than that, keep joining in the normal tournament, because the normal tournament's super fun, and we want you here. And even though it's not a beginner tournament, like, if enough beginners show up, it effectively becomes one. So, you know, do it. With that, Neo, do you wanna shout out anything before we sign off?
I'm just gonna shout out the Quebec scene that actually kind of came in numbers today.
Very cool.
Most of the people I knew from this tournament were from Quebec, and I know that they're fighting really hard to like keep their scene and their locals going. And it's not a big place, so it can get hard at some point. And it's really cool to see them like go out their way to participate in tournaments and perform. And shout out to Audio, who actually won this thing, right? So, I didn't
Yeah. Audio
He's the
wants
one.
tonight.
Yeah. So like,
Alright, he is Canadian.
me?
Audio isn't Audio Canadian? Someone's
Yeah,
Canadian.
he's from Quebec. He's from Quebec. So
Canadians.
yeah, I know we're the worst. So yeah.
Alright, very cool. If you are new to fighting games, check out the new Challenger Discord. I cannot recommend enough, regardless of what fighting game that you're trying to get into. They have people who are very willing to teach you the basics of all of them. Even if you're not looking for exactly the basics, they have very good players there. I know I went to New Challenger when I was prepping for tournaments and looking for specific matchup knowledge, so check them out. They're a fantastic place to learn how to play fighting games. With that, check out the Street Fighter V tournaments that happen on Monday. Otherwise, I'll see you next week for some more Guilty Gear. Have a good night, everyone, and peace.